Jeff here with you. It is great to be back with you here on the YouTube channel for episode number 29 of the Wednesday Night Wrestling Blitz. This is a GMTE Express add-on exclusive this week with AEW and NXT going head-to-head once again this week. Let's begin it with AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite. It was back live this week from Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. Excalibur and Jim Ross were back on commentary with Tony Schiavone this week, so the commentary crew was back in full force here. The show opened up with Cody Rhodes taking on Joey Janela here in singles competition here. It's a pretty good match here. A lot of back and forth action here. We saw Cody show the good sportsmanship at the beginning of the match with a handshake for Joey Janela. So they have the match. Like I said, a lot of back and forth action. Good stuff here. Ultimately, Cody Rhodes does get the win. He won with the crossroads in the end to get the win. And he did show good sportsmanship afterward by shaking Joey Janela's hands. So Cody Rhodes... maybe talks of him maybe being a little more heelish or turning heel down the line. We'll have to wait and see, but he didn't really see too much of that here, so Cody gets the win. Tony Schiavone interviewed Nyla Rose next, of course, for those who forgot, is AEW Women's Champion. We haven't seen her in a while. Basically, the gist of it is that how she's the most dominant force in the AEW Women's division, always will be. Well, at this point, you can't really deny that because their women's division is not very strong, as we all know. So, we'll see what happens with her. And speaking of Nyla Rose, she was in competition here in non-title action. She took on Kenzie Page here, 18-year-old, making her debut here in AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite. Kenzie gets a little bit of offense in, but this is mostly a squash for Nyla Rose. She pinned her after hitting a number of beast bombs and just laid waste to her. So this was done just to get Nyla Rose some more heat here. MJF cut another promo. He was in a penthouse this time, basically announcing that he is injury-free, saying that he's ready to go and he'll be back in the ring next week for the first time in a while. So, of course, he wasn't at the taping sessions in Norcross, so we'll be seeing him in action for the first time in a while next week. Backstage promo from Shawn Spears next. Of course, he's the chairman, as we all know. He's blaming Cody for how badly Lance Archer hurt Dustin Rhodes, of course, and then arguing that Cody should have thrown in the towel. Of course, we all saw what Lance Archer did to Dustin Rhodes, how he was pounding his head into the mat and he was bleeding and all that on the previous show. Shawn Spears and MJF were at ringside here for a promo with Tony Schiavone here. They were putting each other over, basically, just sucking up to one another. I didn't think this was the best comedy that I'd ever seen. I mean, I get what they were doing here, but basically then, after it's all said and done, Tony Schiavone revealed that MJF will be facing Jungle Boy at Double or Nothing. MJF not very happy with that, showing frustration and anger and all that. So they announced that. That should actually be a pretty good match, but I didn't think the comedy in this spot was all that exciting. Jon Moxley here was in action, taking on Frankie Kazarian here. I believe this was a non-title match. We noticed that if you were watching it, Frank Kazarian has hair now, believe it or not, so we haven't seen him in a bit. They have the match here. It's a pretty good back and forth match. I thought Moxley gave Kazarian a lot of offense, a lot more than I would have thought he would here. But ultimately, in the end, Moxley did eventually withstand Kazarian and won with the paradigm shift here, so Moxley gets the win. Afterwards, we see a bunch of the Dark Order followers, I guess you could say, or jobbers. They attacked Moxley. SCU joined in to try to help Jon Moxley, but they got taken down as well by the jobbers. And Brody Lee did come out, so I was wondering where he was, but he did eventually come out in his suit. He nailed Daniels with a chair. Looked like a wicked chair shot, too. And then Brody stood over Moxley as he got in the ring to cut a promo challenging him for the AEW World title, which was not a big surprise. We knew at some point they were going to do this. Moxley was ultimately able to accept the challenge by saying all you had to do was ask, and then they did a little beatdown on him some more, and then Brody left him laying pretty much after he took a big boot to Moxley's face. So, and he's left with the AEW World title. We see Brandy Rhodes. Brandy Rhodes was cutting a promo here. She was at this desk, kind of like a newswoman position, cutting a promo on Jake the Snake Roberts, basically warning him that he doesn't know her and that he needs to stop by having her name being in his dirty old mouth. That's the way she said it. So we'll see if she pays for that here, because in the next match we had Lance Archer with Jake Roberts. He was there. He was doing the social distancing and all that. Lance Archer took on QT Marshall. Brandy Rhodes was out there with them. You knew where this was going ultimately. They have the match. I mean, QT Marshall actually got quite a little bit of offense here, more than I would have guessed. In all honesty, during the match, however, we get towards the end of it here. Britt Baker hit QT Marshall with her shoe because that's her gimmick now. So Brandy Rhodes ultimately saw that. She grabbed the shoe and actually threw it up into the stands there at Daly's place. But then, all in all, Lance Archer did beat Marshall in the end with the EBD claw before pinning him. So Lance Archer, to no surprise, got the win here. After the match, Britt Baker did attack Brandy at ringside, laid her out with a DDT. She was out cold. Lance Archer then dragged her into the ring, and then Jake the Snake Roberts, yes, he came into the ring, he planked her, and he got his snake out, and pretty much planked her and laid the snake all over her. She was motionless. I mean, she was never in any real danger with the snake. Obviously, Jake Roberts knows how to handle the snake. Never in any real danger, but kudos to Brandy Rhodes for agreeing to do the spot here. This was actually a pretty cool visual, I thought. And then we had backstage, we had Taz. Taz tried to interview Darby Allin about his loss last week, but Darby refused to talk, pushing the mic away and just leaving. So Darby Allin, a little upset. I wonder why that would be. We'll have to wait and see. Your main event for the night was tag team competition. We had Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara here taking on Kenny Omega and Matt Hardy in tag team action here. This was a street fight. This was Matt Hardy's first official action in AEW. During the match, we saw Matt Hardy go from back and forth from his personas, I guess you could say, from the broken Matt Hardy to regular Matt Hardy. And then you knew where this street fight was going to go. It went all over Daly's place here. I think with the crowd being there, not really the best social distancing I thought as this was going on, but obviously the fans being there, them spilling it out onto Daly's place. It was pretty cool visual here. At one point, we saw Matt Hardy and Kenny Omega try to run down Sammy Guevara with a golf cart, and then we saw Kenny Omega actually do a moonsault off a scissor lift. So that was kind of interesting. He actually took out his own guy as well. Ultimately, at one point, we saw Chris Jericho powerbomb Kenny Omega on top of the golf cart, and then Jake Hager choked him out, and then Jericho hit the Judas effect on Kenny Omega and pinned him, so the heels actually get the win here, as they should have, I thought. It was announced that Kenny Omega and Matt Hardy will team up next week again. They'll take on other members. I believe it's Santana and Ortiz of the Inner Circle, so the heels get the win here, as they should have, so that was it. So that was AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite that took place from the Daly's place in Jacksonville, Florida. Let's get on to WWE NXT. Of course, that took place from Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida. This was a taped episode from April 29th. Tom Phillips was in the arena. Mauro Ranallo and Beth Phoenix called the action from their respective homes. Tom Phillips joined in as well on commentary. Opening contest had Johnny Gargano taking on Dominik Dijakovic here. Pretty good match, I thought, overall. Good stuff from these guys. We had Gargano come out to a new entrance video, and then basically he's now all heart and no soul. So we had that. Good stuff here. Ultimately, Gargano, as expected, did get the win over Dijakovic in a very good match. He hit the one final beat after her Karana into the exposed turnbuckle, because that was kind of the telling point of the match here towards the end. Gargano trying to take off the top turnbuckle. He ultimately does, and then hit the one final beat for the win here. So Gargano looks pretty good, and a very good match with Dominik Dijakovic. We had Imperium next. That's Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner cut a promo challenging for the NXT Tag Team titles. We'll see where that goes. We had an interim NXT Cruiserweight Championship tournament match that happened next. We had Akira Tozawa taking on Jack Gallagher, Gentleman Jack Gallagher here. Pretty good match here. Of course, we saw Tozawa on Raw here. He was part of that gauntlet match. He didn't look very good, but he actually looked pretty good here in this match against Jack Gallagher. Good action from these guys that ultimately saw Tozawa win in the end after hitting the senton off the top turnbuckle on Gallagher. So Tozawa continues to look strong here in this tournament, picking up another win here. We had Chelsea Green and Aziza leads in singles action here. Women's competition next. So they go on to have the match here. Aaliyah, I should say, interferes during the match, distracting Aziza Lee at one point, and ultimately allowing Chelsea Green to hit the I'm Prettier for the win here. So Chelsea Green gets the win here. Robert Stone, of course, who was out there at ringside looking, I don't like 70s style here, the way he was dressed. He shook hands with Aaliyah after the match, so it looks like they might have another client in Aaliyah, because they really have nothing for Aaliyah here, so they're trying to give her the rub by being a part of the Robert Stone brand, so we'll see where that goes. Velveteen Dream cut a promo on Adam Cole, baby, next about their upcoming NXT Championship match that's going to happen in the main event of this show, so we'll see where that goes. Karrion Kross, get it right, and Scarlett Bordeaux here, they were out. They made their official NXT debut here. This entrance they made, this was great. Fantastic stuff here. They clearly have big plans for both of these two here. They got a big, great entrance here, dramatic stuff here. And then Karrion Kross, I should say, he took on Leon Ruff here from Evolve. This was a squash here. Kross looks dominant. He won with the cross submission here on Leon Ruff. Didn't take very long here. This is exactly the way it should have been booked here. So Kross gets a big win here. We had that NXT Women's Championship match that happened next. We had Charlotte Flair defending the NXT Women's title against Io Shirai here. It's a decent match. Io does get quite a bit of offense on Charlotte. Charlotte eventually was able to come back. She hit her moonsault at one point, even though she missed it. It looked okay, I thought. But the match ends in a DQ after Charlotte Flair attacked Io Shirai on the outside with a kendo stick, so we get a cheap DQ finish after a decent match. Charlotte's attacking Io Shirai after the bell rings. Rhea Ripley actually makes her return for the first time since WrestleMania. She goes after Charlotte and then she runs her off basically, and then Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley get into a bit of a yelling match here. Of course, Shirai's yelling in Japanese, and then Rhea Ripley's just telling her to shut up, and then during the commercial break, once they came back, we see that Io Shirai and Rhea Ripley had a pull-apart brawl backstage. So it looks like they could be having a match or coming up, or maybe we'll have a triple threat, including Charlotte here at one point. It looks like that could be either one of the directions they're going with this. So I'm okay with an Io Shirai Rhea Ripley match. That looks pretty good. We had another interim NXT Cruiserweight Championship tournament match here. We had Kushida taking on Jake Atlas here in competition. Good match. I thought it was decent for what it was. Kushida ultimately won in the end with the armbar submission, so Kushida picks up another win here. He's looked pretty strong so far in this tournament. Finn Balor, we saw the return of Finn Balor for the first time in a while. He cut a promo talking about whoever attacked him won't get the push you're expecting, using some inside terms here, but we'll get a squash, quote unquote, instead. So using inside terms here, Finn Balor was I guess they're trying to make Finn Balor a babyface again. That seems to be kind of the direction they're going here. You have to think it had to be Walter of Imperium. That would have been my guess. So would just be guessing who would be the one that attacked him. So we had Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher. This was announced that Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher versus Imperium for the NXT Tag Team titles. That will be on next week's program, so they've already announced that competition. Cameron Grimes was in action here. He took on Denzel Dejournette, so we got Mr. Dejournette in action again here this week. Cameron Grimes won pretty handily here with the cave-in, and then after the match, Cameron Grimes cut a promo about how he deserves more than what he has right now in NXT, no kidding. And then he called out Finn Balor, basically. Balor did sneak into the ring from behind. Cameron Grimes didn't know he was there initially and then confronted him. Grimes tries to back off of the situation when Finn Balor goes right after him, hits the double foot stomp and then the sling blade. And then Finn Balor cut another promo about how he'll find and get revenge on the attacker that attacked him. So I believe it's Walter, by the way. So like I said, we have that. It was then announced that Finn Balor and Cameron Grimes will have singles action together next week, so we'll have that. Your main event for the night here was for the NXT Championship. We had Adam Cole taking on Velveteen Dream. This was it was an okay match, I thought. I thought it could have been a little bit better, in all honesty. Bobby Fish and Roderick Strong tried to get involved in the match at one point, and then Dexter Lumis attacked them. So again, Dexter Lumis going after the heels here. It's kind of interesting. He doesn't like the guys here with Adam Cole and Fish and Strong and all that, so he tags them, and then Lumis didn't stop Strong from anticipating the referee or incapacitating the referee. The referee took a bump here. Velveteen Dream had the match won. The referee was out for the count. Dream then got his visual pinfall with the Rainmaker. Like I said, he had the match won, but then Cole got the win in the end with the referee back up after he hit the last shot. So Adam Cole retained here, and I thought was was a decent match. I thought it could have been better. I thought it was a little overbooked for my liking, but this is what it was. So Adam Cole got the win, and that was it. That was NXT Wednesday Night Dynamite. It took place from Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida. Let's go over the ratings for the shows real quick. AEW Dynamite did beat NXT in viewership and ratings again this week. AEW Dynamite did 732,000 viewers. That is up 5.6% from last week. And NXT did 663,000 viewers. That's up 4% from last week. So both shows were up. AEW Dynamite won by 10.4%. AEW ranked 12th in the Cable 150 in the demo, while NXT was 33rd in the demo. AEW was 66th in viewership, and NXT was 68th. Last week, Dynamite did 693,000 viewers, and they were 16th in the demo and 67th in viewership. NXT did 637,000 viewers last week, ranked 51st in the demo and 70th in viewership. AEW did a 0.28 rating in the 1849 demo, while NXT did a 0.18. So they were up respectively from 0.27 and 0.16 respectively. So both shows were back up in the demo this week. So Real Housewives on Bravo Network topped the night in the demo with a 0.57 rating, but did just 1.638 million viewers. Sean Hannity's show on Fox News Channel topped the night in viewership with 4.403 million viewers. It ranked 4th in the demo with a 0.35 rating. Survivor topped the night on network television with 7.575 million viewers, and The Masked Singer on Fox topped the night in the demo on network with 1.8 rating. So with AEW winning the ratings war viewership this week, that means they have 25 wins now. NXT has 5, and we have the 1 tie. AEW won all the demos except for females 12 to 34, which they both tied at 0.08, and NXT won in the 50-plus demos. They typically do 0.34 to 0.29. AEW pretty much won all the other demos after that. So my pick of the week this week, it was close, but I'm going to go with AEW here. I thought it was just a little bit better here this week. NXT, not really a whole lot wrong here, but I just thought AEW was a little bit better here, so I'm going to go with them for my pick of the week. So through 29 weeks here, I have NXT with 17 picks and AEW with 12 picks. Let me know down in the comments section below what your favorite moment from the action was this week and if you agree with what I'm thinking. So that's what we had as far as the Wednesday Night War goes. We'll see you the next time for the next episode of the Wednesday Night Wrestling Blitz here on YouTube. Bye for now, everyone.